Hello, fellow Soaring solo artist. My name is Karen McCara, and I am going to be premiering my show, The Dysmorphic Diva, a confessional cabaret, at this year's Hollywood Fringe 2026. What I want to talk about today is my journey to discovering characters in my show. When I first embarked on this journey, this is my second solo show. I did one back in 2018 in the Fringe, and I was just kind of flying blind on that one all by myself. I didn't have the support of a community like the Soaring Solo community. So I wrote the show. It was a narrator-based show, and it was a character. I was not playing myself. I created a character, but the character, interestingly, had a lot of my personality traits and a lot of my hang-ups, and there was a lot of my story in there. It was a wonderful experience, and the show was great back in 2018, but some of the feedback I got, particularly from a friend who's a very good actor, was, why didn't you just write your show about yourself? Or maybe challenging me for my next show to do it about myself. And that sounded so daunting to me 8 years ago. I was like, how could I get up on stage and talk about myself in that way and reveal that much of myself? But if you're just embarking on this process and you're thinking about, can I really do a show that's all about me? My answer is yes, absolutely. That's the gift of solo theater, is that you're sharing your own story. You're giving people permission to feel the feelings and understand that all the craziness that we have, we all share it. So I think it's a gift you give to your audience if you tell your own story. And if you're not ready for that, a character is great too, but that was something I learned after doing my first show. And something else I really learned is that I can do characters. After the experience of my first show, when I started writing this one, it was also just straight narration. And I was maybe going to have a couple of characters come in, but I didn't know how to do them. I had this idea that maybe I was going to use puppets. And when I showed up to Heather Dowling's workshop on solo shows, and I mentioned that, she said, no, girl, you're going to do characters. And I was like, I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to create characters. But with her help, with Jessica's help, I understood that it's all of us have characters inside of us, and it's just a matter of tapping in and figuring out how you can start to create a character that can speak on stage through you. So for me, the way I found it was an accent. I started with an accent, and my first character, she kind of talks like this, and she's like a New York cigarette girl, and that was just kind of an accent that came out that's comfortable for me. I don't know why, my character particularly talks like that, and I even address it in the show, like, I don't know why my character has this accent, and I kind of try to figure that out, but it was just a way in for me because that accent came easily and it was fun for me, so that's where I started. And then Heather helped me find the physicality of that particular character, so it was, body movements, and her home pose is sort of like this. So it was just finding it in my body. Where is that voice coming from? Who is that person? How does she stand? Where does her voice come from in her body? But I have to tell you, I was so daunted by the idea of creating characters, and it has become one of the most fun aspects of doing my show. So I highly encourage you, if you're daunted about creating characters, find an accent, find a body movement, find something that comes naturally to you, and it can flow from there. And it really does add color and flavor and, diverse voices to your show. So I highly encourage that. And trust me, I was terrified of it, and now I feel like I'm really getting it. And I hope that's right, because my show opens in about a week. So if you are in the LA area and you're coming to Hollywood Fringe, please do check out my show, The Dysmorphic Diva. You can find it on the Hollywood Fringe website. And I hope this is the beginning of a wonderful journey. And if you're working on your own show, good luck. Congratulations. Keep going. It is scary and hard, but it is so rewarding, and it has been such a good time. And I remember from my last show in 2018, it's just an immensely rewarding journey. So enjoy. Thank you so much.